Acting Regiment Commander, I want to welcome you here today to this celebration, a graduation of these young men. And I want to clear up a point of confusion, because when you came across that causeway, you saw a sign that says, "We make Marines." I'm not real sure you know who we are. We are not only these recruit trainers working very, very long hours, making sure these young men are as good as they actually came out to be. We are also the Eastern Recruiting Region, those dedicated Marines in blue pounding the pavement out there in America's heartland, looking for young people who are worthy of putting on this uniform. And we are also these loving, supporting families that laid the foundation of character and dedication that we were honored enough to build upon. Ladies and gentlemen, sitting in front of me is good evidence that we all did a terrific job. Now, 12 weeks ago, these young men were standing on a pair of yellow footprints painted in the asphalt in front of our receiving barracks. And those yellow footprints symbolized, I think, their entire existence, because they were worried more about their own personal concerns and problems and fears than they were about the young man to the left or the right, in front of them or behind them. In 12 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, these young men have been transformed. They share a bond that's so significant, so tangible, you could reach out and touch it. They've learned the value of sacrifice of self for something greater than themselves. They've learned how to work together as a team to accomplish a mission. And these young men are now members of America's first team, America's finest, United States Marines. Now, you may wonder how we did that in 12 short weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a complex process. We condition them. That's not to make them fast runners. We teach them how to shoot. That's not to just punch holes in a paper target. You see, we take a multitude of basic military skills which combine to reinforce the values that we as Marines hold dear. Our core values of honor and courage and commitment. But they are more than just words to these young men. They live them for one another. They would not lie, cheat, or steal because someone says that's a bad thing. They wouldn't dream of doing it to someone who may one day give their life for them on a battlefield. They'd never give in to fear, not because to show fear would be unmanly, but because if they were paralyzed into inaction, a member of their family, someone they care very much about, could suffer the consequence. They'd never quit or give up. Not because they would be giving up on themselves, but because they'd be putting that much more weight in someone else's pack. These young men now embrace an ethic we as Marines refer to as esprit de corps. Roughly translated, that's teamwork with reverence. Will Shakespeare, I think, necked it down pretty good when he wrote, "We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he today who sheds his blood with me shall be my brother." And those gentlemen now abed may think themselves accursed they weren't here, and their manhood bought cheap, while any man speaks who fought with us. These young men chose to be with us, chose to fight with us as United States Marines. And they didn't do it alone. They had a lot of help, not only from the leadership of their officers and the support of their fellow recruits at that time, now Marines, and the spiritual guidance of their chaplain, but significantly, that assistance of that drill instructor. These gentlemen behind me wearing these campaign covers. Rudyard Kipling spoke of them when he said, "Body and spirit I surrendered whole to harsh instructors and received my soul." These drill instructors, screened from across the fleet for excellence and soldierly skill, we bring them here to Parris Island, ladies and gentlemen. We train them to a rigorous norm which is above our standard, and that's pretty tough. So they're absolutely the world's best at what they do. Now, they parented these young men, and they mentored them, but they also made them stretch. They made them reach. They brought them to the point of physical and mental exhaustion, to the point where they thought they had nothing left to give, and then showed them how to reach down and find the courage to try one more time. And they did it repeatedly. And they did it so much so that these young men, all they had to do was look to see that drill instructor had confidence in them when he handed them some seemingly impossible task. Once they had that gut check, they went right into and through that brick wall. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how you win wars. That's how we train these Marines. Now let me address these young men. Good morning, Marines.
Good morning, sir!
You ready to get out of here?
Yes, sir!
Just a little longer. First, I want to remind you what got you to where you are today, because you're not done. You need to continue to condition and study and grow. You are now part of a proud heritage, born in blood and sacrifice. Don't do anything to tarnish that. As you go on out into your follow-on schools and into the fleet, gentlemen, you will find that there is no longer a drill instructor hanging over you every minute of the day telling you what to do, what not to do. You're going to be making those decisions on your own now, both personal and professional, both on and off duty. You make the right ones. You continue to make us proud of you. You are United States Marines. You have our every wish for your continued success, gentlemen. Good luck, Marines. Godspeed.
Lord, dude. It is my pleasure at this time to introduce to you the staff of today's graduating company. Please hold your applause until after all of the staff have been introduced. The commanding officer of Company C is Captain Scott Carson from San Diego, California. The executive officer of Company C is Captain Rod Hatter from Garland, Texas. The first sergeant of Company C is First Sergeant Carlton Matthews from Pensacola, Florida. The series commander for the 1000 series is Captain Robert Redmond from Custer, Kentucky. The series gunnery sergeant for the 1000 series is Staff Sergeant Kevin Crandall from Boyne City, Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, the staff of Company C. Ladies and gentlemen, the Marine most responsible for the training of the graduates are the platoon drill instructors. Prior to assignment, each drill instructor takes a pledge which reads as follows. These recruits are entrusted to my care. I will train them to the best of my ability. I will develop them into smartly disciplined, physically fit, basically trained Marines, thoroughly indoctrinated in love of corps and country. I will demand of them and demonstrate by my own example the highest standards of personal conduct, morality, and professional skill. It is my pleasure at this time to introduce to you the Marines directly responsible for training Company C. Please hold your applause until after all the drill instructors have been introduced. The senior drill instructor of Platoon 1000, Staff Sergeant Marvin DeMars from Chattahoochee, Louisiana. He is assisted by drill instructors Staff Sergeant Maurice Smith from Shreveport, Louisiana. Staff Sergeant Michael Stride from St. Louis, Missouri. Sergeant Howard Kramer from Severn, Maryland. And Sergeant Norval Howe from Richmond, Virginia. The senior drill instructor of Platoon 1001, Staff Sergeant Jeffrey Thomas from Bell, Florida. He is assisted by drill instructors Sergeant Vincent Woodbury from Ocala, Florida. Sergeant David Britton from Evanston, Wyoming, and Sergeant Reginald Maxwell from Jacksonville, Florida. The senior drill instructor of Platoon 1002, Staff Sergeant Paul Bishop from Zanesville, Ohio. He is assisted by drill instructors Staff Sergeant John Gifford from Tullahoma, Tennessee, Sergeant A.E. Goucher from Clinton, Missouri, Sergeant Stephen Lunsford from Stanford, Kentucky, and Sergeant Jaikira Razul from Jacksonville, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, the drill instructors of Company C. Throughout our nation's history, millions of men and women have earned the title United States Marine. Many who have helped shape our history join us here today. In keeping with the slogan, once a Marine, always a Marine, we would like to recognize them. We ask that those men and women in the audience who have served in the United States Marine Corps, please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in showing our appreciation. Thank you. Please be seated. Presenting the awards today is Lieutenant Colonel Brown. He is accompanied by Sergeant Major Cassian Portia, the Sergeant Major of the 1st Recruit Training Battalion. Please hold your applause until after all the awards have been presented. The honor graduate for Platoon 1000 is Joseph Ellis from Indian Brook, North Carolina. PFC Ellis was recruited by Staff Sergeant Jones and was trained by Senior Drill Instructor Staff Sergeant Demars. The honor graduate for Platoon 1001 is Moses Wellborn from Walhalla, South Carolina. PFC Wellborn was recruited by Staff Sergeant Dillon and was trained by Senior Drill Instructor Staff Sergeant Thomas. The honor graduate for Platoon 1002 is Jonathan Craig from Douglasville, Georgia. PFC Craig was recruited by Staff Sergeant Ingram and was trained by Senior Drill Instructor Staff Sergeant Bishop. Ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished graduates of Company C. Ladies and gentlemen, following the final dismissal, you may join your new Marine. We ask that you leave the theater shortly so we may prepare for our next ceremony. Please utilize the exits on the left and right of the theater to your rear. Refreshments will be provided across the street at the Visitor Center. Please rise for the Marines hymn and the final dismissal.